Hello, everyone, and welcome to Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. I'm your host, retired NYPD Sergeant Bill Cannon, a 27-year veteran of the NYPD. You know, guys, this October 31st, which is Halloween, is the 13th anniversary of myself retiring from the NYPD. So when I say 27 years, it wasn't exactly 27 years. I sort of rounded it off, but I've been retired from the NYPD this Halloween for 13 years. Amazing that I've been out that long. A lot of water under the bridge, a lot of different things. I tried a lot of different things. I was a college professor for 5.5 years after I retired. Then I really tried different things. I tried acting and stand-up comedy, and here I am. I wound up in the Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories podcast. Anyway, folks, good show for you tonight. And the whole thing, it seems every time it seems that Stephan Sterns is about to go away, all of a sudden he reappears in some way. He reappears in sort of ugly ways, and everything about this guy is ugly, you know. It's just so hard to believe. And just very recently, he's made a phone call to his mom and dad, and it seems like this guy, besides being just one of the worst people I've seen in my life, and I've seen a lot of bad people on this earth, he's one of the worst, you know. And just his lying and this despicable nature of his character, or lack of character, really is what I would say, is that he has absolutely zero character. I don't think he has told the truth probably in his entire life, you know. And his parents, even though I wouldn't wish what happened to any human being on anyone, they have been his enablers too. They enable Stephan Sterns to be the miserable weasel that he is, and whatever he became. It didn't happen overnight. It happened over many, many years. And his mother and father, Deborah and Chris Sterns, enabled and still enable him to be this horrific human being that Stephan Sterns is. Still feeding his commissary account in jail with money every month, you know. And they were paying his rent when he was a free man, paying his rent on a 37-year-old who couldn't hold a job, you know, but had all these ridiculous hobbies if you're going to have hobbies like that, maybe you should have the money to pay for those hobbies. Anyway, we're going to go over his phone call to his mom and dad, what he's doing in jail right now, what's upcoming in his case, and revisit some of the things that we all know. But because, as a matter of fact, this is an extremely, extremely interesting case. Anyway, folks, hold on to your hats. Hold on to your wig, your toupee, your glass of wine, your service dog. You're about to enter true crime from a police perspective. You're about to enter the off-the-cuff zone, the police off-the-cuff zone.
There has to be some common sense.
They were the ones who called 911 to get him help, and now they're calling for change.
Folks, before we go into this, first a word from our sponsor, Bet Online. Basketball fans, it's that time of year again. The NBA is back, from opening tip-off to buzzer beaters. Bet Online has you covered with the best odds, biggest promotions, and live in-game betting on all of your favorite teams. This season, every game matters. Bet Online has every stat, matchup breakdown, and live odds to bet on during the game. And it's not just the NBA. Bet Online has odds on everything from football, Major League Baseball, NHL, to political props. Head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet online, the game starts here. And joining me tonight, of course, my sidekick, former NYPD Sergeant, professor at Albertus Magnus College in Connecticut, and attorney. Welcome to the show, Professor Michael Geary. Mike, welcome.
Bill, good evening. Good evening. Good to see you. This is going to be a good show. A lot of interesting things for everyone.
You know, Mike, I know that you've listened to the phone call that Stephan Sterns made to his parents, and it's filled with lots of excuses. I'm going to play a little bit of it later. But one of the things I think everyone has to realize that has been following this case is that Stephan Sterns is a marked man in jail, and if he does get convicted, in prison. He will always be a marked man, because in prison and in jail, there's something called the caste system. And you are sort of rated by the crime that you've committed. And he's committed crimes that put him at the lowest level of the criminal totem pole. The SA charges make him a target for every other prisoner that's in the jail he is in right now. And then if he does get convicted of that, he will be a target. So what do I mean by that? Well, any inmate in this jail that Stephan Sterns is currently incarcerated in would love to stick a shiv right in his neck or right in his chest and kill him. And that would be like a medal of honor for them. And the jail personnel, the correction officers, know this. So every time he's moved anywhere, a doctor's appointment, a court appearance, the jail library, any place outside his cell, they have to lock down the rest of the jail so it doesn't give some would-be assassin the opportunity to do that. Your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, Bill, he is a marked man. He has no gang affiliations with any sort of street gang, any sort of organized crime gang. So he's got no weight behind him. He's just a solitary figure. He's pathetic. And people respect violence and they practice it on each other, but there's a hierarchy, and as you say, he's at the bottom. And there's nothing worse than someone who abuses maybe an elderly person or a child, the most helpless people there are. So he may, whatever becomes of his cases, whether he gets found guilty and he's doing 40 years or he's doing life or whatever it happens, whatever charges there are, whatever the finding of guilt is, he probably will not make it into old age. He knows that. Everybody knows it. It's just a matter of time. And so he knows it. He could hear it in his voice with his parents. There might not be, he knows, he even kind of makes a little reference to it. But he's a marked man. He's not going to be shaving gray whiskers when he's 90 years old, like in Shawshank Redemption. No, he's going to be gone from this earth a lot longer than that.
Absolutely. Pauline Buckles, I don't think he will mix well with others. That's mildly, Pauline, you're right. Audrey Wallum, good evening, Sergeant Bill, Professor Geary, and chat. Good evening. Rodhound, what's with his shower avoidance situation? Rodhound, that is rather peculiar, right? But don't forget he's in a jail and he has to live around other people. So at some point, the correction officers are going to say, you're going in the shower, whether you're going to go in there voluntarily or not, and you're going to take a shower because you cannot walk around smelling like a farm animal, And at some point, they will make him do that. Maui Swift from the chat. Maui, good to see you. That guy recently convicted of raping and killing a 3-year-old was killed last week in prison. You're absolutely right. That's what we're referring to. It's called prison justice. And whether you think it's justice or not, that's the way it is. That's the way we spoke about the prison or the jail caste system, in which he is at the very, very lowest level of that caste system. And things happen. Things happen in prison, Hey, Bill, it's Woolman, like the Woolman rink in Central Park. Okay. Audrey Wollman. I got it wrong. I frequently pronounce things wrong. You know, I was getting eviscerated for saying Jorge. I guess I said Jorge, or whatever,
Jorge. You said
however I said
Jorge.
it. And many people online, uh, if they would have had rocks in their hand, I would have been stoned to death for that little
Oh,
that
yeah.
little mispronunciation. But I try to get it right. It's not always easy. It's like the teacher who the first day of school reads attendance and gets every other name incorrect with the pronunciations.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, and
Oh, yeah.
you try your best, but you don't always get it right. So, some news in regards to this case: Stephan Sterns' trial for the murder, first degree, against Madeline Soto, will not occur until September 2025. So you may ask, well, how about the other case with the 60 felony charges for the SA? That's not slated to go until February of 2025. So that will precede the murder case. So what's going on now? Why is this taking so long? We would think that the 60 felony cases, the SA charges for the images on his phone and on his Google Drive, there's no reason for that to take so long. However, I think the people, state of Florida, it's in their best interest to take their time to build the most solid case possible. And the defense is not going to object to it because they have their work cut out for them also. So that is why the case is taking so long. Michelle Furla from the chat, a new member. Welcome to the Police Off the Cuff family. Thank you so much for contributing. So I'm gonna play some of Stephan Sterns' phone call, and he's filled with excuses. Oh, the jail was on lockdown. I tried to call, but I couldn't get through. Could you put more money in my commissary? You know, he's just such a weasel. Here he is, Stephan Sterns.
I've been trying to call. They've had us on lockdown so often. Every time I've asked, we've been on a Code 5 lockdown.
Okay.
Which means I've been unable to call. I've been trying to call all weekend, too.
So you've been on lockdown all this time?
Off and on, yes. On the days that I've asked, we've happened to be on lockdown, which means either an incident has happened or they're just so understaffed that they have to lock everyone down. It's probably more to do with understaffing.
Okay. How you been?
Well, you know, had the world's shittiest birthday present, so.
Yeah. And then you didn't call, so I'm assuming because of changes that they prevented you from calling?
No, they were actually moving me around a lot, shuffling back and forth, so I was having to get my phone privileges jockeyed back and forth, which takes...
As we were saying, they're moving him around a lot, and that's really for his own protection because they want to keep people guessing. And when he does have to be moved inside the jail, they have to lock all the cells, lock all the inmates in the cells so that no one, again, sticks a shiv or a knife in the side of his neck or into his chest. Mike, your thoughts?
Yeah, Bill, he is a nightmare for them in the county lockup because, you have, there's a certain, routine that everybody goes through. There's a certain beat that goes through the day. You want everybody to be relaxed. You don't want anybody to be on edge and, just go through the day without any incidents. But every time you got to move this guy, like you say, everybody's got to be in their cell. Stop what you're doing. If you're playing chess, reading, you're on a phone call, whatever, with your own family, whatever you're doing, you got to stop it and go into cell just because this one guy. And that, that ticks off a lot of people, and that's going to cost everybody a little bit of tension. So you don't want that. You don't want that as a prisoner. You don't want that as a guard, as a CO there, because it makes your life twice as difficult. Because you never know, somebody might decide to attack them when you happen to be the person who's escorting them, So it's really difficult to make sure everybody's locked down. It slows everybody's day down, and it's a nightmare. And you just hope if you're the CO in that jail, you can't wait for him to get convicted and then sent to prison because you want him out of your hair as soon as you possibly can get it.
Absolutely. Let's get
Definitely.
back to the phone call here. Stephan Sterns talking to his mother and father here. Deborah and Chris Sterns. It's not feeding up so quickly, but Stephan is just really asking
For
for
a little
different
while,
things.
and then, like I said, the days that I was asking, we happened to be on lockdown on those days. So it's just been inconvenient.
Okay.
Very inconvenient timing, and then we were on lockdown all weekend. I wanted to call her mom's birthday. I tried to call yesterday. I tried to call Saturday, and it was no go anytime. So, but I've been wanting to call. How have you been?
I'm trying to put this on speaker.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put this on speaker. Okay.
How have you been? Can you hear me?
Good. Can you hear us?
Yes. Is mom there with you?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
What's up?
Stephan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Is mom with you?
Hang on a second.
Okay.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like
I
they're
can hear
talking
you.
on walkie-talkies.
Yeah, can you hear me?
It's awful.
Yeah. Okay, that's on speaker.
Okay. Is mom there?
Yes, mom's with me now.
Okay. Happy birthday, belated birthday, mom, and happy belated Mother's Day.
Hi, sweetheart. I was so hoping to hear from you. I'm so glad I'm hearing from you now.
Yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't able to call you all weekend. They had us on lockdown, so no one was able to do anything.
Were you expecting these charges?
No.
The murder charge.
Oh, well, you know you're not.
Okay, so you got blindsided by that.
Yeah. Obviously, it's not true. I never would have wanted her gone for any reason, so, premeditated first degree is kind of a dick punch.
Yeah.
No, I was wondering if you had any updates or anything.
Nope, we haven't heard a thing. Just, speculation that she's been
Heidi,
put in an institution and hiding in an institution.
at her lawyer's request.
Yeah.
I mean, are you cooperating with police about her participation in any of this stuff?
There's been no opportunity for me to cooperate with anything. As I understand, the police keep saying that I'm uncooperative, but they haven't asked me anything to cooperate with, so whatever that means.
So your attorney isn't approaching them and saying, my client would like to speak with you?
No, my attorneys are pretty much saying to keep my mouth shut until the trial starts.
Oh, okay.
I just want to bring to the attention of everyone, of course, what rule number one of everyone in jail and everyone in a prison is absolutely innocent. And of course they're not. But Stephan Sterns, the reality of his case is that the police have video of Madeline Soto riding out of the condo complex in the front seat of the car, dead. And then coming back about 19 minutes later, back into the condo complex, still dead. Okay. And as Stephan Sterns comes back and the security guard sees him with his clicker, the clicker that he said he went back to get because I left the clicker. That wasn't true. That was a lie. So 2 times on video, we see Madeline's dead body in the car. Time number 3, couple hours later, he's caught on Holiday Inn video in their parking garage, removing Madeline's body from the front seat, opening up the trunk and dumping it into the trunk of the car 3 times. And he's shocked that he's being charged with murder. And his father and mother know all of these facts also. So I find it to be a little bit ridiculous that they're asking him these questions in addition to the father, Chris Stearns, and the mother, Deborah Stearns, they know these calls are being recorded. So what are you doing? Why are you asking him questions about the case? It's unbelievable to me, Mike.
Yeah, it's he's been told not to say anything in an email, not to say anything on the phone, because it's all recorded and it could be used against you at any time. And so they're asking him questions about the legal issues in the case, like, did you do it? That sort of thing. No, you stay far away from that. What you're should say is, are you okay? Are you healthy? Are you safe? Have what's going on? Are they treating you well? Are you getting any of the commissary money that we've been giving you? Can we send you something to read or whatever? Leave it at that. Do not start talking about the case, because if he does slip up and say something that really actually hurts his own legal interests, it's going to be used against him. And no, so you don't do that. I mean, I know they're parents and they want the best for their kid. They're total enablers, but they should be that much aware of what they're saying is being listened to by the Department of Corrections, and they got to stay away from that stuff. It's not going to do him any good or them any good, because A, he can't tell you the truth. B, it means he has to lie. And C, you're giving him one more opportunity to lie to you. This guy lies about everything in his life, about what he's been doing for the last couple of years. They know it and they keep enabling it. Bad move on their part. They should just talk about, are you okay, son? Do you have privileges? That sort of thing. Leave it at that. Nothing more.
Yeah, it's almost like they want to hear something different than what they
Yeah.
actually know, so that
Yeah.
they can think maybe their son has a chance to beat this case.
Mm-mm.
Generation X girl. He asked for a lawyer. His attorney should be letting the authorities know if he has information. Generation X girl, you're 100% right. But
That's right.
however, he has nothing to give. And the prosecutor is not giving any new information to his attorney because they don't have to. He's not going to get any deal. There's no cooperation. They don't need his cooperation. They are going for the death penalty on this guy. All right. So, of course, his attorney isn't saying, can you talk to someone? Yeah, go talk to a priest or go talk to a counselor. There's no point in you talking to your lawyer about some deal. You're not going to get a deal. The evidence is overwhelming, insurmountable. That's why they're going for the death penalty. And the icing on the cake is the 60 felony charges trial he's going to go to in February of 2025. That'll happen quickly. Boom, that's life in prison too. Now he's got a life in prison sentence. Now they can go for the gusto and go for that death penalty and just roll the dice, because they're going after him for the death penalty. And there's nothing he can do or say right now that's going to help his case. Mike.
You're right. There's nothing. He doesn't have anything to offer. If he had, they would already be in discussions. His attorneys would be talking to the district attorney nonstop. You're right. They've got him on the essay, the pictures from his phone. That could be a life sentence right there. They got that in their back pocket. Next thing, they're getting ready for the other case, the case of the murder. If, even if he was found, say, somehow not guilty of the murder, he's still going to do life on the other charges. He's not getting out. He's not going anywhere. They can go as hard as they want on the homicide charge, because they don't have to do any sort of dealing with him. There's nothing that he can give them. He can't give up Jen. Everything that they got on her, possibly, they got already. And who knows when they're planning on charging her. But if he had something, he'd have something. He'd have some leverage. As you say, Billy, he's got nothing. He's got no hand to play in this case. He's just going to sit there and he's going to get convicted and he's going to go to prison for life at the very least.
Absolutely. PQ from the chat. Could the police be using the parents to get information from these calls? I remember the mother being outraged about what he did at some point. PQ, the parents have been told by his attorney, do not say anything about the case on a phone call because it's all recorded. They know that. So shame on them if they keep trying to talk about the case when they know it's being recorded. That's just out and out stupidity. But they've been told, and can that be used against him? Yes, it can. It's recorded, and they can use, if he says something pertinent to his case or his parents do, yes, they can use that against him because he's already been told these phone calls
That's
are
right.
recorded. Your mail is opened. There's no freedom in jail or in prison. You know, you have more rights in jail because you're not convicted yet. But once you go to prison, you have less rights because you have been convicted. Carol Grayston from the chat, one of our moderators. Carol, thank you. Gifted 5 police off the cuff memberships to 5 lucky police off the cuff followers. And we appreciate that, Carol. Thank you so much. So Mia Glossender, he's a vile man. Absolutely. Folks, this is Police Off the Cuff, real crime stories. And if you like real crime, true crime from a police perspective, you're in the right place. Both of us, myself and Mike Geary, retired NYPD sergeants. And we're both very, very proud of that fact. And sometimes we get accused on this show of being too cocky that we worked for the NYPD. But you know something? Bring it. Walk the walk, talk the talk. We were on the NYPD, the greatest police department on this earth. We're both 9/11 first responders. We're proud of that also. So when you have it, you use it, right? So, and folks, and if you're not subscribed, just hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell, share us with your friends and your family. If you want to contribute to us financially, we have a Patreon with 4 different levels, and we have a YouTube channel membership with 5 different levels. We appreciate all you guys, our fans, our subscribers, and our friends that make this channel go and make it interesting. As I think it's interesting. Let's go back to his phone call and listen to
Okay.
Stephan Sterns talking with mommy and daddy.
Okay. I don't know why they were going to wait for the trial, but that's their business, not mine.
They don't want anything to hurt my chances.
Yeah, understand. Okay.
Hey, what was Joey's last name?
What?
Beltry?
Yeah, Veltri.
Joey Beltry? Beltry?
Beltry.
Beltry or Beltry?
Veltri with a V, like victory.
V.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, basically, obviously this confirms that they're artificially inflating everything up as high as they can possibly do it.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
So I don't know
What?
what the plan is there, if they're just trying to scare me into pleading down, or I don't know.
No, they're not.
Okay.
They're just trying to hurt me as much as possible.
Are you able to share the Saturday night before you left for Kissimmee?
Mm.
You were pretty upset about something. Did it have to do anything with the Kissimmee in the event that took place the next couple days?
No.
Okay.
No, I was just stressed out about money and job and everything like that.
Some woman got on a YouTube thing and said that you weren't even at the party.
Pardon?
Yeah, her birthday party.
Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet. I went up there Sunday evening and got there after she was done at her party.
Oh, okay.
And we were very happy that I was there. We were very happy that the 3 of us were together. It was shaping up to be a great week and a great visit. You know, there was no reason for anything to happen that happened.
Is there some explanation of I came up Wednesday morning, met you at the hotel early in the morning, and is there some explanation why you left and went where you went?
I was driving around.
Okay, understood you were driving around, but they know where you were driving around.
Yeah. Well,
And we know.
okay. I had wanted to grab a few things, and get my ducks in a row, kind of prepare myself for whatever was coming, but I couldn't find what I was looking for.
He was obviously, he took Jennifer's car.
Hmm.
She didn't even really give him permission or know that he took it because she fell asleep, right? And then he goes to drive to his parents' house, which was about 300 miles away, because he wanted to get, I wanted to get my ducks in a row. He was trying to get rid of evidence. That's what he was trying to do. He went to his father's storage facility, and he also went to their home because he was looking for more evidence against him. Let's not forget, he wasn't arrested yet. That was coming, right? But he knew it was coming. So this is what this dirtbag was doing. But again, his father's asking him questions that potentially could put him in the hot seat if he answers them. And we all know what the answer is, but he's just doing a tap dance because that's who he is, Mike.
Yeah, again, that's a good example of what not to ask your son. What's going on? What was going on in your mind the day you left here, which was like 48 hours before Maddie was killed? You know, what is going through your mind? What, because you seemed upset. What was going on? No, don't start asking him about his state of mind. If he said something stupid, it's going to be used against him in a court of law. Why would you, as a parent, who supposedly you really care for what's going to happen to your child and you love that child, why are you giving them the opportunity to screw up and say something? He's going to end up lying to you. You know, remember, he was borrowing his parents' car. It wasn't his car. His car was in the shop. He didn't have any money to fix it. He was going to a place where his parents pay the rent for him. So what, and he spends his money vaping and playing kids games, and he's worried about money. No. We know he's not worried about money. He's worried about something else because he knows, like you said, he can see the handwriting on the wall. They're going to lock him up for those pictures. He knows he probably didn't do a great job getting rid of the pictures, or the fact is they could maybe even recover them. So there's no way that he was going to get off scot-free. He knows that. He could feel the walls closing in. He makes that one desperate drive, the middle of the night, traveling way down to where his parents lived and then all the way back. And he gets there like after everybody wakes up and he's just like, hey, everybody, how are you? And then he has his big interview with the police. This is like what not to do as a parent if your child is in custody 101. Don't ask these questions.
Absolutely. Let's go back to the phone call right now.
Okay.
And then I ended up just kind of driving around aimlessly.
Okay. I mean, you asked me to come up, and we hardly spent 35 minutes the entire time I was there throughout the entire day. And it's like, I wasn't sure why I was there, and then I was caught off guard by what happened later that afternoon, and obviously haven't seen you since.
Yeah, well, I just felt like I needed an ally there.
Well, I wish you had come to me and talked to me about some stuff, and maybe we could have helped you out in some way, giving you some advice. But certainly, under the extenuating circumstances, what was later discovered, obviously couldn't help you any further than what had already taken place. So the most logical thing would be to have, face up to it and have a conversation with the appropriate authorities or get an attorney or something. But be that as it may. Yeah.
Well, we got a copy of your birth certificate for Sheila Marino and for your case. We're trying to get hospital records from the TBI, but Sarasota Memorial says you were never a patient there, so that's ridiculous because we know you were.
Yeah. And were you able to find my social security card?
Yes.
Good. I presume it was probably in that mouse toy box with everything?
I don't know.
No, it wasn't.
It
No, I don't recall where it was, but it wasn't there. But
I don't remember if you had confirmed or not. Were you able to find my watch?
No, we weren't.
Yeah.
So
There was no popcorn box.
So
Well, silver mouse
we already
toy.
had the social security card. So why did you think we needed? I already knew your number. I don't. Why did you think we need to find the card?
He didn't have a job when he was out free. All of a sudden, he's in jail. He thinks now he needs a social security card. You're going to get a job now? I don't think so.
I might need
Just in
it,
case I was going to need it in the future.
Prison break, jail
Okay.
break.
Well, we have that.
You know, how long I'm going to be here, if or when I'll ever be released, or if you guys are going to be around at that point. But, you know, birth certificate, social security card might be things I'll need in that case.
Well, you know, the penalty for the crimes you have been charged with carry a minimum 40-year sentence. So obviously we're going to be gone. Rick will be gone. We'll all be gone. I mean, we're sad about that, obviously, because there won't be anybody here for you when you come out.
Yeah, you know, and I'll be lucky if I have another 40 years left in me either, so.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, everything sticks.
I wish there was a way that, you know, you and I can have a conversation, all of us could have a conversation to understand what's taken place, how this came about, how you arrived here, because it would help us better understand the situation, because we're at a loss for understanding how all this came about. I mean, we're just totally baffled.
Well, I didn't start it.
He didn't start it.
But you participated in it, which is just as bad as not starting it. But that's for another day. Again, I don't know if
details or anything. But, you know, I mean, if you'd like to schedule a visit with me or something, maybe we can find some way to talk.
I don't know. I think we're always going to be recorded, so there won't be an opportunity to do that. Now, we have to make arrangements for you to sign off on a power of attorney so we can do something with this car.
Yeah.
And I would have to bring a document over. They won't even let me see you. I would just hand it to the classification officer. He would bring it in, you'd sign it, they would notarize it, and give it back to me, and I would leave.
Okay. I think I just got the 1 minute warning.
Okay.
So yeah. Give them whatever you need, and I'll sign whatever I need to sign. In the meantime, I'll try to call back in the next couple of days and we'll talk some more. If you wouldn't mind putting a little more money in my commissary as well.
All right, I can't do much stuff because we are really, when I say dead ass broke, I mean dead ass broke, but I'll do what I can.
Okay, I appreciate
You know,
it.
that could change, but right now, for the next 30 days, you know, we are definitely in lockdown.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, all right.
Maybe
I'll try to get over there within the week to get the POA taken care of.
Okay, there's a 15-minute cooldown before I can call back. I'll see if I can call back again. If not, I'll try to call back in the next couple of days.
Okay, thank you.
So that is the infamous phone call. I mean, some of the things are sort of hard to understand in a way. Like,
Right.
What did the parents of Stephan Sterns not get? What is it that they're questioning? What is it that they don't understand? Do they doubt that he did the things that he's accused of? The evidence has been laid out to them by the police. They know all of this, but yet they want to hear it from his mouth. What did you do? Like, and they know they're being recorded. So then the dad sort of implied, "Oh, I'd like to speak privately." I think that those days are over. I don't think you're going to get a private conversation with your son ever in this lifetime, ever on this earth. Your thoughts, Mike?
The way I'm hearing it, I agree with you. It's kind of weird. I don't understand it. The only thing I could think of is that as parents, they want to somehow believe that Jen is the one that started it. It's Jen's fault. It's not really his fault, although he's a grown man, but he's their son. And maybe there's a little belief they're just clinging to, a little hope that maybe he would say something to clear his name, or something that they could believe that wouldn't sound like a lie. I don't know, but it is odd that they're actually, his father asked him about the night before leaving, and when he left in the middle of the night. So he asked him two, and I think at least one other question, three questions that are like, why would you ask these questions? Why would you do that? And he can't really be candid with you and tell you the truth. He's going to dodge it. I'm surprised he even said, I didn't start it, which indicates that, okay, you didn't start it, but the conclusion is you finished it. So, that could even be used against him. Even those few words could be used against him. I just think they're parents, and on some levels, they're freaking out, trying to figure out a way that they could talk to their son, and that somehow he'll say something that will actually comfort them, that will give them hope for the future. But as of right now, there's no hope.
Absolutely no hope. This was the interview that we greatly criticized in regards to when he was first arrested, and the detectives, they still hadn't recovered Madeline's body yet. And they were almost begging him to tell them where the body was.
Yeah.
But I found that their technique was lacking, to tell you the truth. And I wanted to like them. I did like the detective, but I didn't like what he did. I didn't like his interrogation technique. So this was when they were talking to him.
They sleep in. Did she sleep in her bed Sunday night? No. I was just back at Midway for a couple months. We in the same bed together. We get some serious sleep. So she's done that and suggested that. I guess from upstairs I wake up that. So there's no kind of time that would suffice for Jim to get to sleep in peace.
So you say snuggle time, what is that?
I like to be alone. She's extremely dependent. She does not like to be alone at all. She needs human presence around her.
So they wanted you. She wanted human presence. That's what he's claiming here. She needed human presence, and that's how he's sort of justifying sleeping in the same bed as a 13-year-old girl, 12-year-old girl before that.
About some of the allegations against him. Take a listen to this short clip.
Happy birthday, belated birthday, Mom, and happy belated Mother's Day.
Hi, sweetheart. I was so hoping to hear from you. I'm so glad I'm hearing from you now.
Yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't able to call you all weekend. They had us on lockdown, so no one was able to do anything.
Were you expecting these charges?
No.
The murder charge.
Oh, well, we know you're not.
Okay, so you got blindsided by that.
Yeah. Obviously, it's not true. I never would have wanted her gone for any reason, so, premeditated first degree is kind of a dick punch.
Yeah.
No, I was wondering if you had any updates or anything.
Nope, we haven't heard a thing. Just, speculation that she's been
Hiding.
put in an institution and hiding in an institution.
That's the thing also. I mean, they know all the evidence against him, right? So what do they expect him to say when they question him? I was blindsided by the murder charges. Oh, really? You were seen driving around with Madeline's dead body in your car. You were seen taking her dead body from the passenger seat and throwing it in a trunk. Well, did that blindside you too? No one ever asked him that, though, Mike.
Yeah, he's living in some sort of maybe make-believe world in his head, because maybe he can't really deal with what is happening. But like you said, the security guards saw her twice, at least once. I'm sorry. She was seen on the video being taken out of the car and put in the trunk in the Holiday Inn parking lot with the security camera. He was then also seen really close to where her body was found when that passerby happened to drive by while he was changing his tire, and was able to figure out from there where Maddie might be, because they figured, okay, that would be a time when he get rid of her body. How he could be blindsided, that's some sort of fantasy life he has, where he thinks he's going to need his social security card. He thinks he's going to need his watch. He thinks he's going to need his birth certificate. Dude, you're not going to need any of those things for the rest of your life. Don't you worry. The state of Florida is going to tell you when to eat, when to take a shower, when to get up, when to go to bed. You'll be clicking off the time, doing your bid, and that's it. You won't need those things. But in his head, he's in some weird place in his head where he thinks that, this is only a temporary thing. I'm going to get out of this, and I'm going to go home, and I'm going to need my social security card. Really? But that's where he's at. It really is weird, but I think that's where he really is at this point.
Absolutely crazy. This is a little video of why did Stephan Sterns take a 300-mile trip while investigators searched for Madeline Soto?
On February 28th, 2 days after Madeline Soto had been reported missing, her mom, Jennifer Soto, and Jennifer's boyfriend, Stephan Sterns, found themselves temporarily homeless. Deputies had sealed off the Kissimmee condo where they lived so investigators could photograph the potential crime scene. Detectives had also just seized Sterns' cell phone and his car, a silver Lincoln MKZ. Early that morning, the couple, along with Stephan Sterns' father, checked into this hotel near Disney. All three went to bed, but then, according to investigators, Sterns snuck out of the hotel and went on a mysterious mission. Detectives wanted to know where he went as they tried to seek justice for Madeline.
Do you think your son's capable of doing something like this? I know it's a hard question as a father.
Nothing would surprise me at this point. I don't know.
You're listening to the voice of Christopher Sterns, the father of Stephan Sterns.
What time did you get here last night? 3 a.m. 3 a.m.
Christopher Sterns says that he, his son, and Jennifer Soto arrived at the Town Place Suites at Flamingo Crossings and checked into 2 separate hotel rooms.
I brought my stuff up, went over and said goodnight, and then hit the sack.
About 2 hours later, at 4:42 in the morning, surveillance cameras captured Stephan Sterns leaving the hotel through the main entrance. Investigators believe he then climbed into Jennifer Soto's white Nissan Sentra and drove for more than 2 hours to the town of Northport, which is located between Sarasota and Fort Myers. Stearns has occasionally lived in Northport at his parents' home.
He waited until she got up, went to sleep, and snuck out. Not long after we all said goodnight.
Christopher Sterns told detectives he had no idea why his son would drive to Northport in the middle of the night while authorities were still searching for Madeline.
I don't know whether to say I'm flabbergasted or impressed at Stephan's endeavors.
Well,
He was, as far as I knew, he was going to pass out at 3 a.m.
yeah.
It didn't take me long to crash and burn. And then to find out that he made this round trip to Northport.
Originally, police thought Sterns could have stopped by this storage facility in Northport where his dad rents a unit. At the time, detectives believed the teen may be deceased and her body might be located in the storage unit. But when investigators searched the facility, nothing was found.
Why would he spend nearly 6 hours driving round trip to go to Northport to the storage unit?
Detectives think Sterns traveled to his parents' house that morning where his mother, Deborah, was home alone. She told police she never saw her son.
That you know what stopped him from getting in the house? He didn't have a garage door opener.
While searching her son's bedroom here, Deborah Sterns told detectives she found a torso of a sex doll. According to investigators, she initially believed it to be real. prompting Sterns' mother to run outside and begin calling out Madeline's name. But police found no signs of the missing teen in Northport.
I don't know where he got the energy, but you're telling me he was down there at 7:45?
Still behind the wheel of his girlfriend's car, detectives say cameras captured video of Sterns heading towards the interstate and beginning the nearly 150-mile drive back to the Orlando area. When Sterns returned to the hotel at 10:55 a.m., he reportedly told his dad he'd gone out for a drive and gotten lost.
He spent a lifetime lying to us,
Okay.
and it's just never gotten better. And he fed me some the other day, and before I left the house the other night, I turned to my wife and I said, "Do we really know Stephan? Can we honestly say we really know him?"
While detectives were interviewing Christopher Sterns, deputies took his son into custody on child sex charges. Investigators say they found images on Sterns' Google account that showed him molesting Madeline.
Your son has been arrested for sexual battery.
But
Your son was arrested for sexual battery.
Detectives now believe Sterns gained access to a computer device while in Northport and tried logging into his Google account using his parents' Wi-Fi to delete the images and videos of his sexually abusing Madeline, but was unsuccessful. While investigating Sterns' Google account, detectives say they found evidence that someone did multiple searches for sevoflurane, an anesthetic that can put patients to sleep before surgery and can cause hypnosis and amnesia. Someone apparently wanted to know whether sevoflurane will show up in a drug test. Those Google searches were conducted less than 2 weeks before Madeline vanished.
the impression is that he loves out of her, you know, and he was very upset Monday when he was talking to me. He was sobbing and blaming himself for her disappearance.
Weeks after his son's arrest, while Christopher Sterns was cleaning out his storage unit in Northport, he told authorities he found a box of his son's belongings that included 2 USB drives. Detectives say one of those USB drives contained over 35,000 images of child pornography. None of the images were Madeline, according to police. Stephan Sterns was arrested for sexual battery 2 days after Madeline had been reported missing. Although investigators believe the 13-year-old was dead, they did not know where her body was hidden. Next on Justice for Madeline.
So that was what happened the night that they stayed at that hotel. He took a 300-mile round trip basically to destroy evidence. He wanted to destroy the USB drives, wanted to delete those images that were on his Google Drive. He was unsuccessful at all of those endeavors. Claudia Lenzerstorfer, thank you so much for the 5-pound super sticker. Why did Stephan come back on Maddie's birthday? Of all days possible, end her life. No coincidence. Don't believe Maddie invited him after years of SA. You know, Claudia, those are some of the questions that we all have, that we also question, will we ever find out the answers to that? And obviously, the police know a lot that we don't know. And hopefully these answers will come out in one of the 2 trials. Mike?
Yeah, occasionally, you get circumstances where something happens and it seems to be serendipitous, but I don't believe in coincidence really that often. Once in a great moon, and once in a blue moon, his going up there at that particular day was at the behest of someone, because he hadn't been living with them for at least 2 months. So he was invited by somebody. We'll find out at the trial when they go through the timeline of everything. But it was not coincidence. It's not coincidence that within 24 hours of him showing back up in her life, poor Maddie's life, after 2 months being out of her life, she disappears and she's found dead. No coincidence whatsoever. He was on a mission. He can do things. He seems like a helpless guy when he's talking to the police. I'm just, driving around and I get to the vape shop 2 hours early. I have nothing better to do. Yeah, but when he's got a little bee in his bonnet, he can get his ass out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and drive, and do like a 5-hour round trip, 6-hour round trip on some highway to do something. Or as he said, put all his ducks in a row. I don't think so. He was trying to destroy evidence. So it is kind of amazing that he can do things when he's fired up to do them. So I don't think that it's just a coincidence. He went back to see Madeline on her birthday. Somebody invited him and he needed to do something. He needed to do something really important. And Madeline ended up dead.
Absolutely. Schmitty from the chat, Sergeant Bill, you're still thinking Jen will face charges. Yes, I do. I absolutely do think she will face charges down the road. There's unconfirmed reports now that she's checked herself into a mental hospital. I don't know if that's true or not. Some content creators on YouTube, I didn't watch it. They're claiming that she's in an institution now. That remains to be seen. This was one of the most important videos that came up very early in the case.
Detectives have determined that Madeline was never dropped off on the morning of February 26th near her school. Instead, we believe she was already dead at the time and that Stephan Sterns moved her body in the early morning hours on that day. We have video evidence that shows Stephan Sterns discarding items in a dumpster in that apartment complex in Kissimmee at 7:35 on Monday, February 26th. Detectives later recovered Madeline's backpack and her school-issued laptop from that dumpster. At 8:19, we have evidence that shows Stephan Sterns returning to the complex and Madeline was visible in that vehicle. We believe she was already dead at that time.
Maddie's body was...
So that was very early on in the investigation, and it was basically shocking. Many people asked, how did they know she was dead? Well, apparently the video was that good that, she didn't move at all, or she was in a position that only a dead body would be in, with her mouth wide open. And they saw her twice, leaving the complex and coming back into the complex. And then the third time, which was the bonus, was the Holiday Inn parking garage, where they have video of him pulling in, backing up, getting out of the car, opening the trunk, going to the passenger side of the vehicle, removing Madeline's body and throwing her into the trunk. So, talk about solid evidence. And that evidence should have been used in his interview, in his interrogation, and they didn't do it. They did not use that evidence. That would have been so powerful. They did use the evidence about her backpack and her laptop being found inside the dumpster. And that's ultimately what made Stephan Sterns lawyer up. But they never approached the murder. They should have went after the murder in that interview/interrogation. And they did not. I questioned their technique, and perhaps if they would have done it the way I suggested, he may have lawyered up anyway. But go for the gusto. Go for the big prize. Don't go for the peanuts. Go for the very big prize, which was the murder. And they should have used psychological reasons to get to him. God, religion. When you face your maker, are you going to be able to deal with this? Maybe if you showed that you're a decent person by telling us where her body is right now, maybe one day God will forgive you. But you're not offering anything. And what did he do? He lawyered up, right? Which shows you what a complete and absolute dirtbag he is, Mike.
Yeah, they kind of started to go down that road to challenge him when they were talking about the video, seeing him dumping the garbage, and her laptop was in the garbage. They went that part. They went when they talked about Madeline not being there, and then the detective said, I think you need to talk to us. I think there's something you want to say, because that girl deserves, like the Christian burial case idea, that good speech. I thought he was going to go a little harder with that one, but then he backed away a little bit, and then he got to the phone. And we talked to the phone. He talked about the phone and the images, and then Steph knew where this. He then absolutely, undoubtedly knew this is the end of the road. I'm going to lawyer up. You're right. he may have lawyered up if at the time when they talked about the laptop and her backpack in the dumpster, that was one. They could have gone after him hard after that. Or two, when they were talking about her body missing. I thought that's when they would do it, because I'm thinking that's the most emotional appeal that you could make to him, and they backed off. You're right. They didn't go for the gusto. They may not have gotten it, but I would have liked to have seen them too go after him and say, look, you know where she is. She deserves a Christian burial. Prove that you actually love this girl, that you profess to love, that you care for, that you shed tears for. Tell us where she is. And they didn't do that. I would have liked to have seen that. You never know what could happen. You're right. They could say, look, if you're going to work with us, maybe there'll be something that you could offer. This may save your life. This may save your life rather than face a death penalty. I wish they had gone for it.
Absolutely. Claudia Landis-Stoffer, sorry I didn't go here. Why did Stephan come back on Maddie's birthday of all days possible and end her life? No coincidence. Don't believe Maddie invited him after years of SA. Claudia, it's been suggested that perhaps Madeline was pregnant, but there has been no confirmation of that because the autopsy results have never officially been released because of her age. Will that come out during the trial? Yeah, absolutely. It'll come out during the trial. But for now, we can only conjecture that that was the reason. There was obviously a reason that was going to reveal Stephan Sterns and the crimes that he had been committing against Madeline. And he took the easy way out, like all dirtbags like him do. Let me play some of this. This is the interview.
Before any questioning, do you understand his rights? Okay, perfect. All right. So before we start talking, one last thing. Can you just raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm that the statement you're about to give is the truth, nothing but the truth, to the best of your knowledge, so help you God? Yes. Beautiful. Okay. All right. So she had a birthday recently. She had a birthday party Sunday, yeah. Okay. So did you come to the party?
No, I was not. I was on my way up at that point.
Okay. So the party ends. Did you pick them up from the party?
Someone must have dropped her off.
Okay.
She was there when I got there. Jen asked me to make sure that in the shower and did her bedtime routines, which she did. She was already on top of it, so nothing to do there.
Okay. What time do you think you got back in Kissimmee?
What time I got into Kissimmee?
Yeah.
Maybe 8 o'clock, 83-ish, something like that.
And I apologize if you've answered these questions before. It's just like I said, we're coming into the game late, so I may ask you things that you've already answered probably 3 or 4 times.
And I apologize as well. My memory is not super reliable on time frames. I've been medicated.
I would never apologize to a perp, especially this guy. I would have kept the pressure in his face, and I would not have let him think that he was holding the cards. And that's where I felt this detective was too nice. He was too nice to him. He showed weakness. You can never do that with a perp.
For the better part of a week.
Okay, that's fine. What do you think medicine for?
Anxiety mostly. I've been having some money troubles lately. I'm anxious over that, so.
Okay, well, hopefully your money troubles get better.
I've been medicated on Ativan since probably Saturday.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so when you got to Kissimmee and you got to the apartment, what happened? Like,
made some dinner, made some ramen. Don't know how I make my ramen. Then we started watching Sister Act, but it was time for her to start getting ready. Basically, just as we were starting Sister Act.
Okay.
And that was just about bedtime.
What time is bedtime?
Usually 10:30, 11-ish,
Okay.
something like that. It's a spectrum, not a set time.
Mm-hmm. Then, so who's going through the bedtime routine? Because I know Jennifer said she had somewhat of a little routine too that she does. Is it her? Are you talking about?
Jennifer's routine is taking her meds, eating some food so that she can have the proper calories for the meds. And she's got about an hour to do whatever she needs to do because she needs to fall asleep at that point.
Okay, gotcha.
Her bedtime routine is taking her bedtime meds, brushing her hair. She should have showered that night. And she goes to bed as well. Usually with some bombs or something on the background. Burgers.
Got it. What are the sleeping arrangements?
She sleeps in.
Okay. Did she sleep in her bed Sunday night?
No. I was just back. I'd been away for a couple months. We in the same bed together, so we get some serious sleep. So she said no to that and suggested that the guest room upstairs had a big enough bed. So some snuggle cuddle time that would suffice, and Jim would get to sleep in peace.
Okay. So you say snuggle time. What does that mean?
Like to be alone. She is extremely dependent. She does not like to be alone at all. She needs human presence around her. Basically.
Gotcha.
We've been trying to wean her off of that, but
Elaine McKenzie from the chat, thank you for the 10-pound super sticker. Bill, there was new evidence about possible pregnancy, which included messages regarding pregnancy coins. I did see that, Elaine, and I agree. And I think that is probably what happened, but we can't confirm it right now from a law enforcement source. So I just can't say but that very well could be the reason. You know, why was he so upset? Why did he all of a sudden come back to Kissimmee after 2 or 3 months of not being there? He was on some type of mission. Yes, I agree. That absolutely. And as this detective is interviewing Stephan Sterns here, you got to realize they did not have Madeline's body yet. I believe this was on March 1st. And it was earlier in the day. They didn't recover Madeline's body till 4:30 in the afternoon on March 1st. So Stephan Sterns is doing his tap dance here. And, you know, he's pretending, he's not doing even a good job of pretending to cooperate. He's really not cooperating. And then once the detective starts presenting some very uncomfortable facts and evidence to Stephan Sterns, all of a sudden he says, do you think I need a lawyer? Should I get a lawyer? You know, and the detective said, I don't, if you get a lawyer right now, we can't talk any longer. And, and that was the point. He says, well, I think I need a lawyer. And that was it. That was the end of the interview. But they never, ever got to the Madeline being murdered. And they had evidence of that, even though they hadn't recovered her body. And that's where I think the detectives erred in this interview, in this interrogation. They never presented that. They never went there. And that's where I think, from my perspective, from my experience, from my being a boss in Manhattan North Homicide Squad, if I was watching this interrogation from outside the glass, at some point I think I would have stopped it and asked the detectives to step out and asked them, why aren't you going for the murder? You're taking just as much risk going for the SA that he's going to lawyer up. So go for the gusto, go for the big prize, go for the murder. We don't have her body. He knows where her body is. Get him to tell us. Use psychology, use all the tools that you've used over your police career to get him to make this confession admission. But instead, I think that they were barking up the wrong tree. And at some point, he lawyered up, and then that was it. And luckily, that day, based on an eyeball witness that saw someone fitting Stephan Sterns' description at that location, that they searched for the body there, and that's where they found Madeline Soto's body. Mike.
Yeah, luckily that person came out of the blue. That was a great bit of luck for the police officers involved in the investigation, because he put Stephan Sterns on that backcountry road. I can't think of the name of it, but he placed him at a particular location.
St. Cloud. It was in St. Cloud.
Yeah. It was like a fairly rural road.
Hickory Tree Road.
Hickory, that's it. Hickory Tree Road. Very, very rural area.
Yep.
And who knows when they would have gotten around to look in that area, because he had been picked up on a license plate reader somewhere on that road, but it's a long road and it's a very desolate area. And so there's a lot of fields and brush and things like that where somebody's body could be secreted. Luckily, that person did see a story on the news, called immediately and said, I saw a guy who looked just like him. His car looked like he was changing a tire, and it was right around this location. The police went there, and within like an hour, they found Madeline's body. That's huge because of all the evidence that's going to be preserved. Because the evidence, as you know, and we know that, evidence of a crime that's on a body that's exposed to the elements and animals is quick, and rain and everything else is quickly lost. So therefore, finding her body quicker than later. If you found her body, a month later, and that gentleman had not stopped and told the police what he knew, you might not have found that body for weeks and weeks and weeks. So they found the body in a timely manner, and that made a big deal. But you're right, when you talk about the investigation, that video, his tone of voice is much different than it was several days earlier when he was talking to that female detective. And I can't think of her name. She's fantastic.
Marta, was it Marta? I think it was the first name.
Yeah, she was great. And his tone was much more cooperative. Here, you can see he's got the arms folded, the hat on backwards, and he's giving out very little. He's tired. He doesn't want to be here. He's kind of getting the idea that they are closing in on him. He'd just done, I think, that round trip that night, so he barely slept at all. We know he's not a morning person in his best of days, so it was a really difficult interview. You're right. They should have gone, when they had that opening, go for the gusto. Definitely.
Absolutely. Corey Edwards from the chat. Question: what if Maddie was going to tell, like Jen said, most of what she was speculate was true? Corey, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking. So do you understand what she's asking, Mike?
I'm thinking Ms. Edwards is wondering, what if Maddie was going to spill the beans to Jen about, maybe like after now, she's now 13. Hey, Mom, I just want to let you know what's been going on with Stephan. Maybe.
But Mike, I think then you would first have to think that Jennifer didn't know about it, which I don't accept that premise. I think she did know about it.
She seems to clearly indicate she had for a while, she knew that this kind of behavior was going on. She didn't think it was bad, though.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to Elbow's mom on the set. Both Stephan and Maddie were in their own homes, but reported by those they lived with to have been agitated and anxious. I believe something that night was the agitator for his actions.
Yes.
Elbow's mom, we agree. I mean, 100% agree. We don't know exactly what it is right now, and we can speculate till we have that evidence. Edmund Bouchard saying I was not a morning person. Yeah, that's a famous line. Stephan Sterns, that's for sure. Martha 0345 from the chat. As a survivor myself, I can 100% confirm that on a child's mind, you in some ways do fall in love with your abuser until you realize what's going on. Well, Martha, it's something like we would call in law enforcement almost, and not exact comparison, Stockholm syndrome, where a victim identifies with their captor. So there's a similarity there. And Martha, thank you for volunteering that. And I know there's many people in the chat, many people that follow this show that are victims of abuse, and I appreciate that you speak about it. Elaine McKenzie, the pregnancy coins were little gift coins where parents could toss the coin at who was looking after the baby. Maddie sent him that saying, "We need this." Yeah, that's scary. And again, I believe the police know all of this, and they chose not to release that. But everything seems to be coming out, sort of leaking out slowly but surely. Imagine how much evidence there will be leaked before the trial. Rodhound, they seem to be prescription addicts, like always on pills. Yeah, and they raised Maddie like that too. Maddie seemed to be drugged up all the time. What child of 13 needs all these different meds to go to sleep, And I know that's a possibility, but it seemed that Maddie was just drugged up all the time by these two. Claudia Lanzstuffer, what happened if Stephan pled at court? He has a mental state of mind problem, wouldn't be full. No, Claudia, he's going to be fully responsible. Even in an insanity defense, it would not excuse whoever committed this murder from doing what they did. And it's very difficult to get an insanity defense, almost impossible. There's been people that are absolute lunatics that couldn't get it. I remember there was a guy named Colin Ferguson that shot and killed 9 people on the Long Island Railroad train.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't even get it. And he was out to lunch. He was totally a nutcase. And his attorneys tried that. Instead, he represented himself in court. It was a total circus. But
That's right.
He would not be able to get an insanity or a mental health plea. So I'm just reading some of your stuff in the chat. Kissimmee, Florida. Bill, he was specifically contacted by Jennifer, and she asked him to come back to help her out. Given she stated a new job, and Maddie wanted him back too, all in the evidence release. Well, Kissimmee, thank you very much for that.
Okay.
But now the question that we asked today, of course, was what was in, what were we listening to in these phone calls to his parents? And it just seems like an altogether dysfunction, dysfunctional family. I think that Chris and Deborah Sterns enabled him. I do not wish on them or any other parents to be in the situation that they're in, but they raised this monster. Stephan Sterns, who's in this thumbnail that's on the screen. They raised him, and surely they have to take some responsibility to what this monster became. And hearing the phone calls, the phone call from jail that we heard today at the very beginning of the show, we can only surmise that they are still enabling Stephan Sterns. Mike, I think we're at that point in the show. I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. I see a lot of new faces. Schmitty, is it standard procedure to have a person raise their hand in an interview? In my experience interpreting this type of thing, I've never seen it. Schmitty, I have never seen that ever myself. That's something, it must be a Florida thing. I've never seen a detective swear in the next thing they'll be bringing Gideon's Bible into the interrogation room. I've never seen that before in my life. Fuzzy Doxy, good to see you. You would have broken him, Bill. Thank you. Sylvia Baldwin, good evening from Ontario, Canada. Kissimmee, Florida. They arrested him on Wednesday night for the pictures due to the fact that they felt Maddie may have been still alive and captive somewhere and thus still at the risk of SA. Kissimmee, that I don't think that's true because they had the video of her early on in the investigation that she was dead inside the car. So I don't think that was. We'd have to know exactly the time frame, but they had video of him leaving the complex with her in the passenger seat, him coming back in, and they had the additional video of him removing her body from the passenger side seat and throwing her in the trunk. So I don't think that was real. That was really a factor. Yeah, this is a horrific case, and I don't know what this phone call he's making to his parents is expected to get him, but he's still living off his parents, it seems, and they are still enabling him. Mike, your final thoughts here.
I thought it was quite telling when when you played the previous interview where Chris Stern had been talking to the detective, and and Chris Stern, the father, admitted to the detective that only the day earlier he had talked to his wife and said, "Do we even really know, Stephan? Because he's been lying to us forever." This relationship, this somewhat toxic lying relationship where he's trying to use them, had been going on for many years. And unfortunately, it's come to the point where maybe if he had been, held more responsible, he may have changed. It may have turned out a different way. But he'd been lying to them. He'd been very manipulative. Sometimes he seems weak and afraid, but it may all be an act. Remember, he can get up in the middle of the night and drive and do a mission and come back. He can lie to people about where he was, what he was doing. He can lie about maybe a missing watch from his father. He was willing to go back to his parents' house in the middle of the night to try to get information that he knew could be used against him. So this guy is a monster. He's got a lot of weird facets to his behavior. He's readily capable of scheming to kill a girl like poor Maddie. And so, don't take anything that you may hear that he says out of his mouth in any interview as gospel truth, because he's going to be lie constantly. He cannot help himself lying to even his parents about the most minor thing. And so therefore now he's going to pay the price for all of the things that he did. It's finally caught up to him. Maybe there will now be justice for Maddie. She deserves it. She's the one that's been hurt in this. And we should always hope that she will get justice and he will serve justice, whatever it happens to be. Life behind bars. It could be life behind bars with the possibility of a death sentence hanging over him. We don't know. But hopefully, keep your fingers crossed that he does get justice that he deserves for Maddie.
Absolutely. From the chat, Moth's Mummy. Jen was not horrified. She was jealous. Thank you very much, Moth's Mummy, for the £1.99 super sticker. Much appreciated. Fuzzy Doxy. Thank you for the $9.99 super sticker. And she thanks Bill and Mike. I like the picture of your dog there, Fuzzy Doxy. That's great. Yeah, this is, we come up with new things, but this case is still a while away. We're talking February 2025 for the SA case to go to trial, and then September 2025 for the murder. Kissimmee, Florida. To clarify, Bill, the only video they had at the time was from our Venetian Bay camera showing her body was not moving, head at an unnatural angle, but clearly that is not proof. Kissimmee, you're right. It's not proof, but the Chief Mena, who I played the video of early on, he said we believed she was already dead. From that video from the Venetian Bay, there was two different videos, one of him leaving the complex and one coming back in. And in both of those videos, obviously, Maddie was in the front seat in an unnatural position, was not moving, her mouth wide open. The police surmised that she was already dead. So they took that as, well, I'll use the word hypothesizing that she was already dead, because they did not, in fact, know that she was already dead, in fact, but they hypothesized. Holly Chick, hello, Bill and Mike. Holly Chick, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming by. Carla Trokey, thankfully, Jen spilled the beans as much as we could from her. She didn't even get a lawyer at that point of the interview. Kissimmee, the fear was she may have been held captive like that Long Island case, Katie Beers. It could have been Kissimmee, Florida. Kissimmee. I was told I say that wrong too, but I don't want to say it wrong. The one true Whitney, it's such a red flag that neither of them have any friends or family that are going to the media and saying there's no way they could be part of any of this, how good they are. Well, the one true Whitney is because the police already have lots of evidence. So anyone coming forth and saying that would be viewed as not telling the truth, because especially the pictures on his phone it's so convincing. It's such powerful evidence. So that's why if someone did come forward, it would not be believable. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. As new information comes in on this case, we will absolutely come back to you on it. I'm Bill Cannon from Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. On behalf of myself and Professor Mike Geary, we thank you for tuning in tonight. Have a great rest of your night, and God bless everyone.
One episode just ain't enough.